Hope we're all doing extremely well this afternoon, Friday the 21st of November. The time has gone fly. Talk of the devil says hello. Talk of the devil. Hope you are doing extremely well this afternoon. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel. I'm going to say this because I think it's true. We are the best community on this platform. We may not be the biggest, but we are the best. Have an amazing community. We have an amazing community that we put together. Very, very, very fortunate to be in this position and have such an amazing community on here. First thing to say is be respectful. That's what this channel is built on. We don't mind banter. Banter is okay. Of course it is. I encourage it to a degree. We have some amazing rival fans on here as well. Really, really amazing opinions. Be respectful to yourselves. Be respectful to the community. Be respectful to me. Otherwise, the ban hammer comes out. The reason why this show takes so long a time is because I genuinely do read out all of the chats. So get in your opinions. Just because I have an opinion doesn't mean that that's the end of the conversation. I actively encourage you to have your own opinion. I read it out. Not every single thing, because some things are not appropriate to read out. I may read them or may amend them as they come out of my mouth. So it does completely depend. But look, get in there. I do read the chat, so I'm not a dictator of the chat. So look, get in there, go and grab yourself a tea, coffee, and we'll talk about stuff. So today, what are we talking about? Today we're going to be talking about the press conference. Today, it's already come out, but I thought we would have our say on it as well. And anything else you want to bring into the show, we can bring that into the show as well. When I go through the press conference stuff, it is going to be a verbatim. It's not going to be word for word. I've just literally written some notes down, and it's basically for us to go through. So look, you get into it. If you heard the conference itself, let me know what you think, what was said. I don't necessarily think a lot was necessarily said. There is the embargoed section that will come out at some point. Interesting, we can go through. I think the most interesting bit was who is in the team. DJ Darkest Night Legend says, good afternoon to the UDC. Yes, you are part of the UDC. I always think it is basically, I always think it is a the UDC is like a baddie sort of thing from one of these films, right? The UDC massive. Yeah, look, get in there with your chats. Now, YouTube, hopefully it will stay good. Recently YouTube has been doing me dirty for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, that's the beauty and the upsides of doing this. Talk of the devil. What is the UDC? It is the United Devil channel. That is what we've. It wasn't me that abbreviated it. It was the community. So that is what we've gone for. The UDC, as it is now, reporting the United Devil channel. Exactly. No, I know. But it is what it is. So look, let's get on to the press conference. Let's not waste any time. Actually, one of the things I wanted to say actually on this is, so you may have seen on the thumbnail there's a QR code. So what I'm planning to do tonight is quiz. I've got it all ready to go. So I'm planning to do a quiz. So the quiz is going to be on the club. Why is my name gone? I don't know. Why is your name gone? Why is my name gone? I don't know. I don't know why your name is gone. Have you changed it? Is I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why your name is gone. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why. No idea. Have you changed something? No, I'm still Bobby Lowell. Bobby is a legend of the chat. I don't know, my friend. Look, YouTube has been really, really strange the last couple of days. I don't know what's happened. The algorithm, I think, has sort of changed. I know it's been absolutely destroying the numbers for me on here. The viewer numbers have been decimated. I don't know why. So Go and figure. YouTube these days works in mysterious ways. It does. It does. It absolutely destroyed my numbers, and I don't know why. It is just, I don't know. No idea. But yeah, look, tonight, I'm going to attempt to do a quiz tonight. So there's a QR code. If you scan it, it basically takes you on to. I think there's a app as well associated, and basically it allows us to do a quiz, right? So the quiz tonight, I think is going to be quite cool. I'll tell you what it is. I need to find the website as well, actually, to tell you what it's called. It's called. Let me have a little look. It's called Aha Slides, right? So basically, I've done a quiz in that. So the quiz is on United stuff. It's on other bits and pieces as well. So it's basically an all-round quiz, but also United questions in there as well. If you scan the QR code, it's an interactive quiz show that you can play on your phone. And the best thing about it as well is I've limited it to seconds. So you basically got 10 seconds to answer the question. And because you're using the phone, unless you're literally super quick at typing it as well, you've only got 10 seconds to answer the question. So I'm fully prepared for the Googles. I think there's about 30 odd questions. I plan to do 30 questions, but it's ended up being 31 questions. But I think it's going to be cool. And there'll be like a leaderboard and all sorts of stuff. And if it works, I'll continue to do it, because I think it would be quite fun to do. So get your thinking caps on. It's going to be on United. Some of those questions are hard, and there is just a Habaksha says, "Evening, mate. Good evening, my friend. Hope you're doing extremely well." So look, there's going to be a quiz tonight. Get in there. As I say, there's going to be a QR code on the thumbnail. Give it a scan. It should be absolutely fun. If not, I'm going to be playing it on my own. So there. Right. Press conference. So press conference. Where are we? So Amorim. Look, first of all, it's nice to be back, right? Press conference, means that he's back. Obviously, we're not playing on the weekend. We're playing on a Monday night, 8 o'clock. I can't say I'm a really massive fan of playing on a Monday night. It's Friday. I have a gig to do. What time is it on? Well, it's on Monday at 8 o'clock. So it's on Monday at 8 o'clock. Obviously home tie as well. So yes, it's on a Monday night. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it being on Monday night. But look, we're going to be playing, I think, Monday night for the next couple of weeks. I think we're playing on a Monday night 3 times. So it's yeah, I don't know. Well, I know why, because we're playing one game a week. So that's what they're looking to do. So Amorim. So let's go through this. So Amorim. They went through who's trained today or trained, and we'll go through the team. I can tell you exactly who's trained and who's not. So basically, Lemens, Heaton, Bayinda, and Ben Mee have been training. Oh, sorry, I thought it was tonight. No, it is not tonight. You are all good, my friend. So training-wise, we've got Lemens, Heaton, Bayinda, Ben Mee. Delo has been training as well. Dorgu, Leon has been is in the team as well. Malacia, Martinez has been training as well. Oh no, I meant the quiz. Yeah, the quiz. I'm going to look to do the quiz tonight. That's what the plan is. I'm going to do it tonight as more of a tester. And if it does well, probably the best time to do would be on like a Saturday night, right? So I'm going to give it a test tonight, see who joins, see like how it works, and then I'll do one maybe like a Wednesday night. It just really depends. It really depends on who wants to play the quiz, how many people join. We can see, right? Letitia Legend says, all the best to the team on Monday. Yeah, I agree. Alfie says, are we playing on Monday? Yes, we are. We are playing on Monday at 8 o'clock. So the team that trained Delo, Dorgu, Leon, Malacia, Martinez, Shaw, Delict, Yoro, Heaven, and Mejraoui. Also, to come into the team, Lacey's come into the team, Mason Mount trained, Fletcher's come into the team, Casemiro, Ugarte, and Bruno. Up front, Xerxes, Ahmad, Cunha, and Mbumo have all come into the team to train. Now, out is Mainu, Maguire, and Shesko is out for a couple of weeks. Now, there is some news on that. Mainu, we could see him. Mainu didn't train, but Mainu is expected. You could see him in, I think there's another training session allotment. So Mainu could be back at any point. So Mainu could actually be back for the game on Monday. Maguire is not ready, so Maguire is out. And Shesko is going to take a couple of weeks. So Shesko, I think, is going to be back around about the 21st of December. So that's when Shesko is going to be back. So and additionally, there is some information in regards to the AFCON, as well as when players will have to go. And Amorim had some opinions on that. So look, Shesko is a couple of weeks away. Mainu looks like, he's been out, but he could return at any point. Maguire is out. Now, the fact that Lacey and Fletcher are in that team, and Amorim did say something interesting about youth, and hence that's why on the thumbnail I think is brilliant. I've put those two kids on there because I think that it is about time. The fact that Lacey hopefully will get his chance, I think, is fantastic. DJ says, brilliant, Lacey there at least. Exactly, Fletcher, so the son of Fletcher is in there as well, and I think it's fantastic. We've pretty much got a full squad. Mainu should be back. Maguire is out. Shesko is out as well. So Shesko sort of been confirmed that he'll be back by when the AFCON starts. So look, he's going to be in and around that 2020 sort of 1st of December. So Amorim was basically asked about the AFCON and sort of players who are not going to be there, right? And sort of like how does he feel? So one of the things that Amorim said that it was interesting to me was that basically these players I think are required, or I think it's accepted that they're going to be out there 2 weeks before the game starts. So I believe that the last game I think he was due to play was the 17th. So it looks like that AFCON players are going to be gone in the next 2 weeks. So I thought they'd probably be around till about the 17th, 21st, but it's looking like that those AFCON players are probably going to be around for another 2 weeks. So they're going to be gone sooner than we think. And this does link into the fact that Lacey's in the team as well. DJ says, how is Mainu injured? He hasn't played. And again, like this club does, right? There is no information really as to what is wrong with him. I wouldn't even doubt if basically he had some time away just to get his head right. Mainu is going to play. I'm a believer in this. I think Mainu is going to get his chance. I think these all players will get their chance to play. And we then basically went on to say, look, they've got to respect the time frame. Now, Amorim seemed quite cool when he was talking about this. They've got to respect the time frame. They've got to respect the federation. They've got to respect the players. And he's basically saying, look, it's not the ideal situation for them to go, but they must have known when they signed the players, right? So I think he's quite chilled. And then he basically went on to say, look, it's time, it's the opportunity now for these young players to come in. He's basically saying that they have to utilise the under-21 squad. But he just said, look, they must be ready. The under-21s must be ready to go. And I'd probably say, look, they must have been planning this, because they're not going to suddenly chuck in these lads. They must have known the AFCON. Well, they did know that the AFCON, was about to start. So I think that these players, these young players, have actually probably been in and around the first team. I think there's been planning involved here because they would have to be. Lacey, the fact that he's come in as well. So I think there's been some planning here. He hasn't said it, but he has basically said that those young players have to be ready to go. So I guess my question is really now is that, like, those of you who are itching to get these players into the team, they're gonna get there. They're gonna get there. They're gonna get their chance. So I think those of us who are clambering to see these players, who are clambering to see these young bucks, these young guys come into the squad, this is their time to shine. No, he didn't mention an OB, but OB could even get his chance. So there is opportunities. I think there's opportunities that these young players, I think, should grab. So I think those of us who are clambering for the youth to play, want to get them into the squad, there is going to be opportunities for these young players to come into the squad. And you're right. At last, Amorim is going to try the talented. I think it's going to be fantastic. I don't mind if these young guys come into the squad, and they're trying to do a job. I just hope. One of the things I hope is that this fan base gives them time. I really, really do, because these young players are going to need time. So I just hope that the fan base can be patient. Even if the results don't go our way, look, we're going to lose our top scorer, right? McBarrett Hassan says, you like Amorim? Yes, I do. I'm an Amorim supporter. I've been a supporter since he joined. My mind hasn't changed on him. My mind hasn't fluctuated. There were a couple of games where I questioned what he did based on some of the confusing things that Amorim did. But you're saying that he's not getting results, right? And look, as you've mentioned it, right? I'm not gonna. I will not disrespect your opinion, because this is that channel where you come on. I'll give you your opinion. I will read out your opinions, but it may. And as you've asked me a question, I'll come back and I'll give you my reasons. Now, you've said he's not getting results, right? But where are we in the league? And again, look, I think you make a good point there. You're saying that it's too big a job for him, right? I'm not going to disagree with that. I've said that a couple of times, that I still don't know if Amorim is the guy. The start of the season, the beginning of the end of the last season, I was of the opinion that is this job too big, right? I think what we've got to accept, or what I do accept, that he's 41, right? The reason why coaches, when they get older, they seem to improve. I'd probably say maybe Pep. Pep is possibly the one of the ones who is different, right? But if you watch Amorim in 5 years' time, it will be a completely different coach, and I think he'll be a better coach in that time. So look, I absolutely don't disregard that opinion, because I think as an opinion you could be right. But my opinion is on this is, you're saying he's not getting results. Well, we've not lost for 5 games. It's better than we've done. I don't think we're playing particularly well. Do I think it's the coach? No, I think he's got a limited set of players. The only thing I'm going to say here on it is that I don't believe another coach could come into this squad and make it play. Hassan saying some give up the manager looking at ex-United players. Some give up managing, look at the ex-United players. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what you mean on that one. Oh, okay, right, okay. So you're talking about Neville, Rooney, and all that sort of stuff. Well, Amorim's not an ex of our players. I think Amorim is a fantastic coach. If you look at these players and what he's done with these limited players, I think is fantastic. Look, players, people may disagree, and it is your right to disagree with my viewpoint on this. If you're hammering out, I've got no issue with that either. Getting your opinions on that. Right now, I'm hammering in because I'm tired of this club sacking a coach. Let's give this guy time. Give him time. And, let's just say we get to the end of this season. You give him some more time. You give him another year. And if you back him again with another £200 million, back him again, give him some more plays so he doesn't have that excuse, then at that point, it could be established that he may not be the man. Scott says, yes, JB, Scott is a legend of the chat. I hope you were doing extremely well, my friend. Scott, I think you suggested it. So tonight, my friend, I'm going to give a quiz a go. So I've put up on the thumbnail. If you scan the code on there, it basically takes you to the quiz itself. And the good thing about it is, if you do it on your phone, you can't really cheat. So unless you're in front of a computer and you can type really, really, really fast, and you've got about 10 seconds in between to answer the question. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So if you go to the thumbnail and scan it, I don't know if you've got a computer or not, or if you type in, if there'll be there's like a code, and what I'll do is after this stream I will put the code. So I will put, in fact, if you hold on a second, I will put it into the chat. Let me put the code into the chat. Here we go. If you type this in, copy link, click to copy link, and then I'll put it in here. Paste that in there. There you go. So if you go to this, I'm going to try and do it about 10 o'clock-ish, I think 10:30. Get in there. It's going to be a quiz. It's going to be cool. And if it goes well, it depending on how many people are there, whoever wins, or maybe I'll do a top 3 and I will give away some shirts. Not tonight, but I don't know, mate. It works for me. Don't know, mate. Definitely works for me. Why give Ferguson time? Why not Amorim? Letitia, I think you make a good point. I do think just my phone. So I love United, but somewhere it's not right, whether it's players, etc. We got to get it right. Champions League is minimum is this season. I don't disagree. I could spend hours and hours basically telling you from my perspective why this club isn't right. That's probably for a different show, but the simple basics are Glazers, Ineos, are, in my opinion, are toxic. They've spent a bunch of money. Amorim has inherited players from, these players played under some of them 4 coaches, possibly 5. These players have never played a back 3 before. Amorim is doing the best with what he's got. He's got limited players. And then, to be fair to the players can't play the system. The players are doing their best. Some of these players, I think, could do better. But it's just a case of these players and the coach, not all of these players fit. So you've got players and a coach who are basically doing the best that they can. Some of these players, in my opinion, are not really good enough and need to be kind of moved on. But you can't change a whole team in a season, possibly not 2 seasons. So, Amorim is where he is on that. Why give Ferguson time? Is that a United shirt? Yes, it is. I am a little bit cold. He's had a transfer window. Let me take it. Let me take this off. Let me take this off. I'm doing my old man impression because it's bloody cold in here. Here we go. 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 Right. Just for you. He's had a window. I mean, look, you can't give Amorim a one window, give him 3 players and say that's your team. You know, he's got Luke Shaw. He's got right, let's think about this. He's got a Dalot, he's got Luke Shaw, he's got Maguire, he's got Casemiro. Yeah, I'll post it. I'll post it at the end, Scotty. That's fresh. I haven't seen that one. Yeah, that's this is a which season was this from? I think it's the season before last, I think. So this is I mean, it's very green. It's very, very lime green. So, you know, it definitely stands out. So, I think he needs another 3 to 4 windows. I mean, that's my opinion on it. You know, doesn't mean that I'm right. Let me just over here. I can see that a little bit. So in my humble view, I actually think he probably needs another 2 or 3 windows. Fresh says Šeško will never be good enough. Fed up with the awful scouting of strikers. We'll end up wasting another 2 or 3 years hoping Šeško comes good, as we did with Haaland, and it will never happen. Again, you know, one of the things I'll say about this channel, you know, what I love about that opinion, Fresh, is the fact that there are lots of people who just put in comments, right, and they just go, Šeško's rubbish, right? But I'm not going to disagree with that opinion, because again, this channel is not about me calling out your opinion. This channel is about you getting your opinion in, right? I don't necessarily share that opinion, but you know, you've explained it. I think it's a valid reason, you know, and I'll give you the 2 sides of, I think, the argument to that point is, number 1, Šeško wasn't our first choice of a striker. So I think you've probably got a point on that one. I have the opinion that I don't really think it matters who you put up front, unless it's pretty much Harry Kane who will come to deep, or like a Haaland. But unless you feed these strikers, you know, you think about it, right? The strikers that we've had, what's the common theme here, right? You've got Haaland, who started off well with Napoli, right? You know, you got given the service, he scored goals. He scored probably the same amount of goals already that he did for us the whole of last season. And now you stick Šeško up front, who is having the same issues. So look, I'm not gonna disagree with that opinion, but we don't play balls to strikers. You know, we absolutely don't. We seem to bypass the striker situation. So, you know, I think you've got a point, but I think ultimately time will tell with Šeško. Look, we need to give him 2 years. You know, whether people agree with that or not, you've got to give him time. He's 22. And look, you could be right. You could be right that, you know, maybe he's not the right fit for this team. I think we need a more experienced striker to help him out. I think we need to encourage the team to give the ball kind of more to him. But look, I can't not, you know, I don't agree with it, but I think as a comment, I think it's very fair. I just hope Šeško doesn't turn out to be Haaland. Scott says I don't want a Harry Kane. He's too slow. We need a striker if we're going to get into the Champions League, right? You know, Harry Kane for me comes too deep. That sounds completely wrong. Like how can you come too deep? Well, but he runs too deep. I think we do need an Osimhen type of player. I don't know. Pure May says hi, legend of the chat. Hi mate. Hello, Pure Amaze, legend of the chat as always. So look, I think the Shesko, I think the Shesko debate is going to continue, but in my opinion, look, I think it's too early. We love to write off players, right? We absolutely love to write these players off because it seems to be the fan base, and we love to write these players off, right? You might be right, you might be wrong. But I think we need to give this player time. So let's give him time. Let's maybe critique him possibly towards the end of next season, and he may not be the one. But Pure May says, "How are we? Club football's finally back." Look, mate, I am very well, and I hope you are too. It's nice to have you back. It's nice to have football back. I shall be watching a couple of games tomorrow and just sort of see what competition that we're going to face. United need a Van Persie or a Nistelrooy. Where are these types of players these days? I don't think they exist anymore. I think being a striker is different. I do agree with you. I'd love a Mark Hughes type. I'd love one of those sort of strikers that are big and rough. That sounds wrong, right? But sadly the game's changed. A lot of teams play with a false nine. Haaland reminds me of that sort of old-fashioned striker. Stick him in the box. He's that type of striker, but you don't really get a Michael Owen now. You don't really get like a Sheringham. Sheringham was one of those players that was very much that sort of that fox in the box and very 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 clever. Never kind of had that pace. You don't really get those players now. Everybody has to be an athlete. So I'm agreeing. If we could just find that type of player again, I think it'd be fantastic. Pyramid says, I think you should have given Højlund another season. I don't know. I think with Højlund for me, look, I think it's PTSD. I'll be back later. Got a meeting, JB. I'll see you in a bit, pal. Hopefully you can join the quiz tonight. Look, I'm going to say it again. Post a link. For those of you who are in the chat, we are going to attempt to do a quiz tonight. So I'm going to do the first quiz on here. Vaughan says, hi, he's a big Serbian lad. Some boxing, MMA. We need fullbacks to fear him. He will come good. I like that comment. I do. I like that comment. I have got no doubts. A quiz, yeah. There'll be a quiz tonight. I'll put. There's a link in the chat, but there's a code on the thumbnail. But I will put up after this as well. I will put up a code. So I'm going to try it out tonight. I'm going to try out a quiz. None of you can bloody cheat because I've set it up so there's a timing. There's a time in between other questions. That's quite quick. So get in there for the quiz tonight. Vaughan, look, I am with you. I think it's too early. It's too early to judge these players. I say these players. It's too early to judge a Shesko. Shesko is an athlete. Once Shesko acclimatizes to this league, he could run riot. I am one of these people that I think we need to give him time. Once, look, let me give you an example, right? So, Vidic come into this league, and there's a story, right? Which I love this story. So he basically says he comes into the club, and then they train, and then after they've trained, he basically goes to look for his teammates, right? So he says, you've got Rio, in the gym, Rooney's outside, and then he says, well, look at me, right? I'm just really, really skinny. So Vidic then went out, worked hard, climatized. Shesko, I think, will be the same. I think Shesko will be a Vidic type of player where I think even though he's an athlete and even though, he's a big lad, you watch. Once he acclimatizes and once he finds his feet, I genuinely think that Shesko will be a fantastic player. So I say, for those of you who doubt him, give him time. Give him time. Give him time. And he'll come good. Kevin, what do you think of the Tony rumour? So I've mentioned this on the channel before. I always call him Luca Tony for some reason. Predicted front three for tomorrow. We're not playing until Monday, so if you're talking about us, then United don't play until Monday. I will give you my predicted front three, but we don't play until Monday. What do you think of the Tony rumour? So I have spoken about this on the show. I would love to get him. I think that, yes, you don't need to apologise at all, my friend. I would like to get him. I think Tony is one of those strikers who's. I think he's the right age. I think he's the right type of player. I think he's a little bit of a. What's the word I'm looking for? I think he's a little bit nasty. We sort of need that. I think he's that type of striker who comes in and he's all arms and legs, and he sort of knows how to get the best out of himself. Luca Tony, yeah, I loved him as well. And I think Tony is that type of striker who's going to give you a little bit more. He's Premier League proven. I like him a lot. I think he can help with Shesko a lot. Tony reminds me of the players, the type of player that we used to sign, right? So we used to sign like a Saha. We used to sign a Teddy Sheringham. We used to sign those sort of older strikers who, they weren't necessarily the best. They weren't bad. And I think getting a 29-year-old Premier proven striker, okay, he's not played in the Premier League for a little while. I really like it. Of all the strikers that type of age, I'd like him. Kevin says Tony is a cocky P. Exactly. Look, Kevin, that is exactly the type of player that we need. We need somebody with a bit of bite. We need somebody with a little bit of flair. And we need a player who's not just going to stand there and go, "Oh, could you please just pass me the ball? Please." He will demand the ball. I almost want a player who, if someone's not going to pass to him, when they go back at like half time, I almost want him to start a fight. Like, I'm not saying a proper fight, but I almost want. We need somebody in there who's going to say, like, why aren't you giving me the ball? Like, give me the effing ball. Like, give me the ball now. So I like it. I do. I really do like. I really do like this. The potential player there. Whether or not that we can get him, there are reports that Saudi are basically kind of saying no. But Tony, for me, one of those players that I think would be ideal. What we're saying in here, Tony is on fire in the Saudi League and won Asia Player of the Year. I loved Louis Saha. Sadly played with injuries. Semenyo is available. Get him now. Look, what I've seen today, and look, I'll give you my my thoughts on some of the things that I've seen today. Before we go back through what Amorim has said today, I'll give you my opinion on some of the signings that are potentially linked to us today. And what they've been saying is what we've been saying for the last 3 to 4 days. So I'll give you that opinion as well. Lion Tao, look, Semenyo, right? Do I like him? Yes. Yes, I do. If there's an opportunity to get that sort of player, should we go and get that sort of player? My answer to that would be yes. Right? Even though we've got a bunch of number 10s, he can play wide, he can play, up top, and I like Semenyo, right? That we may have our plans, right, for centre midfield players, which I believe that we need, probably more than him. But if there are certain players in life in the Premier League that become available, you've got to be in the mixer, right? But here's where the problem lies, is that we don't have the money, right? Now, the only way we do get the money is we need to bring forward what we need to do is we need to speculate on the money that we could possibly make, right? And the reason why I say that is because PSR now, over 3 years, if it was the raw PSR, we would be in Stup, right? We would be in utter chaos. But you are allowed to take off certain things, right? So you're allowed to take off the cost for the women's team. Sir Jim put some money in. So what that means is that we've lost, technically over the last 3 years, when you tally it up, we've lost 36, right, £1 million. Okay, you can lose 105 million. So the money we factually have to spend right now, based on the financial results, million-wise, is 64, right? Semenyo is 65. People are talking about Semenyo. People are talking about, you could, what you could do is you could say, look, we'll give you, you could structure that deal and say, £20 million now, maybe 20 next year, 15. Like, you can do it, but we've only got £64 million to play with. Now, I guess, and I don't know how we would, this club would have to be really confident, really confident that they'll get Champions League, and you can pull some of that cash from the summer. And this is why I think this club is a very, very cautious club. And I don't think that we're going, because you got to think about how this club is run. It's not run like a football club. You need to speculate to accumulate. We need to be brave. But this club is run like a company. There is no way that this club is going to allow itself to go up to the limit without giving itself some headroom. So this is why I think that we will probably only do a loan signing. I'd be over the moon if this club showed ambition. But as we are right now, and again, you can follow the trail, that Sir Jim has basically said that he thinks this team can finish in the top 4. And I think one of the things to think about is if we, in these next 10 games, right, and I think this is a vital and important point. If we get to these next 10 games, and let's just say we win 8, right? Fantastic, right? It means that we're up there, we're in the mixer, we are in there, right? At that point, there is no way, I don't believe, that Ineos will dip in and say, look, we're going to sign these players. We've got Ugarte, we've got Casemiro, we've got Amenu. Whether or not we think that they're good enough or not, I think that is where it will be. But then what I do think will then happen, the plus point will be, as Amorim has said, is that the under 21s have to be ready. So we could supplement this side with the youth. As many of you guys have said, we need to play the youth. I think we could possibly be dipping into the youth. So look, I think this transfer window is going to be fascinating. I think it's going to be up and down. I think we're going to get a lot of stuff. But also the point that I wanted to make is that now I've seen a lot of the bigger channels today, and we've been talking about this for the last couple of days before anybody else, is that it's now coming to light that we actually don't have that much cash to spend. Because if you look at the PSR and you look at what we can spend to look at what we've got left, I think channels and people are beginning to realise that the money isn't there. The only way that we could really bring in the cash would be to sell a player. We're not going to be selling these players until the summer window. So look, it's going to be fascinating. Getting your opinions. I'd love to know your opinions. Whether you think I'm talking out of my back end, whether you think that we've got some hidden cash. Do you think that we can sign some of these players? I'd love to know your opinion. Get them in there. Let me go back and see what we're saying. Always remember lip reading Keno in one game. If you want the ball, demand the effing ball. Exactly. Kevin McGee says, I'd be surprised if Amorim wasn't interested in Tony. He wanted Watkins over at Shesko. So Prem improving is appealing to him. I don't disagree with you there. This is weird. I can feel the fan base slowly and slowly looking again at Tony. I like Tony. Look, Tony is not the future, but what we need for Shesko. So what in an ideal world for me, what I would love is a Lewandowski, right, or a Zlatan, right? Come in, they're coming in for a year, and you say to them, look, one of your roles is we need you. You know, you're not going to be a starter. If they were to force themselves into the squad, then that's a different story. But your job is to come here and push the likes of a Shesko whilst teaching him, right? On the flip side of that, you've got absolute wallies out there, like what's his name? The Watford striker, right? What's his name? I can never remember his name. Idini, right? So Dini is out there, you know, saying that he can, you know, wee harder than a Shesko. Instead of maybe giving him a call and say, look, mate, you know, I know you're finding it hard as a striker who played in the Premier League. You know, he wasn't good. Why not call him up? Why not? Why are these strikers, these ex guys you've played in the Premier League? Want to give them a call and say, look, you know, I think you need to be doing X, Y, and Z. You know, why aren't they helping the youth players? You know, it doesn't matter that you've never played for the club. It doesn't matter. And I feel like sometimes these young strikers, especially at our club, are just being left to fend for themselves. And yes, I know there's a price tag on these players, but they're still young. So I think Tony for me would be absolutely quality. For me, I think he could add something to the squad whilst at the time supporting Shesko and giving him a hand. Stephanie Legend of the chat saying JB is modelling the green shirt. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing extremely well. Stephanie, Welsh legend of this chat. Absolute Welsh legend. DJ says, imagine Cunha, Mbeumo, Ahmad and Tony as our 9. Frightening. I agree with you. Hello, Scott. Hope you're well. Kevin says, to be honest, I haven't a notion if you're right about the cash, but United always seems to find the money. Do you think Xerxes would suit a front 2 more? Grace Legend of the chat. Do I think that Xerxes would suit a front 2? That's a good question. Possibly. I think Xerxes works better. I think Xerxes would work better as the spearhead of a of a midfield four. So you'd have a striker, Xerxes. You'd have two. You could have 110. You could have a number 8 and a number 6. So I think Xerxes would work better as the spearhead of a diamond. I think that's where he would be best. And then beside him, you then sort of have a number 8 and 10. That's what I think. You should have bought Lewandowski in 2012. The shirt reminds me of summer endless parties. Tall glass full of ice, triple vodka poured over the finished, huge slice of lime. How's the parrot? I love it. Imagine Ruben Neves, Ivan Toney as lone sound. I know people wouldn't be over the moon with necessarily that, but I think that would be good. Troy Deeney or Troy Parrott. Hello, brother from Menama. Hello, my friend. Xerxes would suit to reminds me of York. So 4-4-2 then. Yeah. So okay. What else did Ruben say in the press conference? So what else did he say? So he was asked about the position in the league, and basically said and was asked, you're not playing any really top teams. What are your thoughts? Do you think that you can do well? And I kind of like the answer to this. So he basically said, we're not playing the top teams, but it doesn't, he doesn't really care, because every game is a hard game. Every game is a difficult game. You have to take it game at a time. And I agree with him. He also made a joke and basically said that, that what this team is like. You just don't know from one game to the next. Now, that's not what he said, but he did basically say that, you never know what you're going to get with this team. And I think he's right. So I think a lot of fans, and this is, I think, where we at times we do a disservice to ourselves, right? Is that we almost then start to believe in this team, right? We it's almost like a learnt thing, right? Where we know that right now we are inconsistent. We know we're capable of beating anybody. But some of us at a certain age, because of what we had, when we go into these games and we see we're playing the likes of a like an Everton, those sort of lower end teams, right? Automatically is a knee jerk that goes, we can beat these teams. These teams are not great. We almost forget that this Premier League right now is probably one of the most competitive years that we've ever had. So we almost go, we're playing 10. We can win. I always support you. Thank you, my friend. It's very, very kind, and I do appreciate the support that you do all give to the channel. It is much appreciated, and I can only thank you so much. So I think Ruben's right. I think we have to take each game at a time. We used to play in one game a week, but now going to be playing 2 games a week, and goes back to the previous thing that what, like he was saying, is not only are we playing 1 game a week, but we're going to lose 3 crucial players. We can't sign anybody. So for those of you who want a Maney to play, those of you who want a Xerxes to play, those of you who want the youngsters to play, guess what? They're going to play. So we're going to see. I believe we are going to see. Casemiro can't play every single game. Luke Shaw's not going to be it. He can't play. Well, he's going to try to, but he can't. So you're going to see Mainu. You're going to see a Xerxes. These players are going to get their opportunities, and then come to the end of the month. Then I think that then we will have more of an indication of what we will try to do. Let me go through some of these chats. Xerxes was suited 2 reminds me of York. Yeah, I feel for Xerxes, he must feel like a spare appendage at a wedding. I love it. I love it. It's fantastic. 4-4-2 in Bumo and Xerxes front two, Cunha and Bruno wide. We're winning the league, says Grace. Look, Grace, I always say this. I love it when you guys come out with stuff like that. I'm not going to do it because I believe that even though the channel is small and I'm only one person, I don't believe that. I don't think that we will, but I think I've got a responsibility to, to play the both sides, because right now I don't believe that we can do. But if we get to Christmas and we get past that time and we're up there, maybe we get ourselves in a little bit of a race. Then we get to February, March. You look at Leicester City. By no means am I comparing us to a Leicester City, but they took one game at a time. Imagine if we got to March and we were still up there. Look, guys, I love the positive opinions. DJ says flexibility is key. I think Ruben has started to reluctantly be flexible. I think he has to. There are many United fans in Myanmar. Our channel is small. You've got 25,000 subs. Look, Grace, it is awesome, but I'm very, very thankful to you guys. But I always demand more, right? You guys give me so much on here. I just believe in this community. I believe in the channel, and we are. I'd say we're still classed as small. But look, we're going to get bigger. We're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And like, who knows? This time, sort of next year, we could be 50,000, and then at that point, then maybe I'll be just like maybe that we are going to be big. How's it going, mate? Kartik, Legend, Lemens, Yoro, Delict, Shaw, Ahmad Casemiro, Bruno, Dorgu, Mbumo, Cunha. Start. Interesting, Steph. Interesting. Lemens, Yoro, Delict. I think that Ahmad, Casemiro, Bruno, Dorgu, Mbumo, Cunha. Stop. I'm not going to disagree with that side. There are many fans, yes. UDC, you are doing a great job, man. Look, I can only do a good job because you guys are here. Look, the facts are, if it wasn't for you guys coming on here supporting the channel, it would literally just be me talking to myself, right? So and as many days I do talk to myself, but hello sir, how has your day been, or bad days? Today's been a good day. JB, your channel is right up there. The size isn't an issue. Your channel is right up there. Size isn't an issue. Steph, you tell me. Is size everything it's cracked up to be? I don't know. I let you guys. You can be the yeah. I'm not going to go into that. Size is an issue if he wants more. Look, the size is not the issue really. I would love for this channel to be recognized, more so because of this community. When I talk about more, I think this community on here has been fantastic, and I want the recognition for the community and what we've built. I think that you guys are fantastic, and have you seen 25k people together? That's amazing. Green and Gold says, hi, hello, my friend. UDC, let's see you knock the United stand off their perch. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, look, if I had two, I think, are they $1 million or 1.5 mil? I mean, look, if we ever got to that size, I mean, let's see, right? Let's see if we can knock them off their perch, right? Grace says 2 million. I mean, look, when we're talking about channels of that size, like, ultimate respect, it is ridiculous, right? If we could even be a fraction of that, which we are, like, I never thought that we'd even get to this size. That's what the missus says. Friday night is dogging night, not tonight. It's not. Satisfaction versus size is true. The many place where size is an issue is space. Over 2 million, says Grace. Do you know Myanmar player who scored a goal against United in the Asian Stars Cup? No, I don't actually. No, I don't. Wave Cutter says we will win. You changed your name, I think. We will win. We will win number 21. The problem with the United stand is it's run by a Forest fan. Look, that's not for me to say, but look, you guys, you absolutely cracking me up. Do you? I've got 10 million on my Delo fan channel. Really? Wave Cutter says Gobridge talks absolutely nonsense and doesn't treat his staff well. I don't know, my friend. I should be Mr. Freeze. Not sure what's changed. Yeah, it's YouTube has gone weird today, Mr. Freeze. I recognise the picture. It has gone weird today. I don't know what is up with it. Devil says, whom, according to you, will be the man of the match? It's difficult to say. We're at home. I think that Mbeumo will be man of the match. Ahmad possibly as well. So I'd go for one of those two. Yeah, I think a slim pickings on the man of the match. So let's see, shall we? So the Martinez debate as well, right? Pep's dog has a few million followers. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. No, you've got a guy who is this part of this fan base is obsessed with some guy who's going to cut his hair if we win 5 games. I mean, it's fucking ludicrous. So the Martinez thing. So the butcher looks like he's sort of back. Grace says press a button and go back to 4. Press a button and go back to about 4. Yes or no? With these players, yes. Grace, with these players, yes. But with what we're trying to do, no. But with these players, yes. Because I think a back 4 suits these players. Mr. Free says, Gobridge should look at himself. He's the reason why we haven't done well spreading toxicity. I can't comment. I don't really watch the channel. I don't watch him really, to be fair. I do get sent clips, which is quite funny. I've said this before. One of the clips that I got sent was one of the presenters on there was wearing an AC Milan top. I mean, you're presenting a channel for your club, and you're, if you've got shirts in the back and you can't really see what the shirts are, fine, right? But when you're presenting a United fan channel show and you're wearing the colours of another team, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be happy with that. I'd be totally pissed with that. So, So the butcher, right? The butcher. Fio says we have talented young people. They are, including me, have the right to dream. I agree with you. I agree with you. Everybody across the world has the right to um, has the right to have an opportunity. You shouldn't be limited for your opportunities because of where you live. It's a sad thing that people are, but um, let's have a little look. Mr. Free says, disgusting. I still have a problem with AC Milan knocking us out in '07. And again, look, I'm not one for calling people out, but it's just as we're on the topic of that channel. Um, you know, this is my problem. How do we, as a fan base, supposed to take seriously this club and the problems in this club if you've got a presenter on a massive channel wearing an AC Milan shirt? People will not be bothered, right? But for me, I can't. I think it's I think it's wrong. But look, people get away with it. It's up to them, and good luck. Gray says, why do you think wingers train to play inverted these days? We haven't played people on their natural side since Ferguson. I think it's because they want players. Well, I think it's because they want players to cut in and shoot, right? I also think it's because if you think about it, a winger's natural instinct is to run to the wing, right? Is to play on their side. I think the reason why they play inverted is because then that it's almost you're flexible across that front line, right? So if you're inverted, because you will naturally, because so when I played football, I was a winger, right? So you don't need to be taught to run on the wing on your side because you naturally there's something that you do. But what is a difficult skill to learn, particularly if you don't play with the both feet, is if you play inverted, what it then means is that you can actually play anywhere across the front line. So the reason why I think that they play inverted is for flexibility. It just means that you can switch sides as well. So that's why I think that they do. True, Mr. Freeze. That's why I stopped following them. If you could move to another country, which would you choose? If I could move to another country, where would I choose? Probably Australia. Sand, weather. I don't mind spiders. I don't mind snakes. Norway for me. I thought it was Arsenal shirt at first. Was going to throw my computer out the window. We should give Anthony a go again. Play him in wing back. There wouldn't be the pressure immediately to make the difference at the top end of the pitch. Anthony's gone, mate. I mean, we're not going to buy him back, right? We're not going to pay 85 for him, sell him for 24, and then buy him back again. I don't think so. Grace, I would move to Greenland, but the grass isn't necessarily greener. Amazing. Anthony doesn't like United anymore. Look at the press as a false dawn where he's concerned. If money wasn't an issue, I would go to Switzerland. He was touted by Munich. He must be good enough. Whether or not he is, we're never going to find out because I don't think he's going to come back. So look, let's go through the rest of the conference and then I'll give you your afternoon back. So Roberto Martinez, the Butcher, is now back, as many channels reported weeks and weeks ago. The Butcher is back. Thumbnail: Butcher is back. He's back in training. He's back. I said it. He's not back. Talking out of their arse. He's now back, right? He's not fully back, but they are taking the time with him, right? He was then asked the question. Can you utilise him in the midfield? Amorim closed it down and basically said no. saying he can't play there. The only time that he would play there is if there were injuries. So then he was asked about Luke Shaw, and he basically said that Luke Shaw can play on the left-hand side as a wing back. So I think probably what we might see actually is Martinez back as on the left centre back and Luke Shaw as a wing back. And I can already see a problem, and I will come on to why I think that could be a problem. Fo says, I'm a young Burmese national and have a dream of becoming a national team player who can play abroad. Mate, I hope you can achieve that dream, my friend. I think that'll be awesome. Luke Floyd says, the Butcher is a bad man and I love him. Many people do. When he was playing, my friend, I love the attitude of him as well. I would have loved him to have been the captain as well. So Martinez, he is in the dressing room helping out. When he plays, he can become a CDM with Casemiro. Ideally, I would love him to come back fit and firing. His best position would be sweeper, sitting in front of the back three as a left centre back, in my opinion. Even rotate with Casemiro. Sick of all this ex-player doing well now talk. They wore a United shirt and underperformed, which is why they're gone. Get over it. Move on. Don't disagree. I think you're right. Do not disagree. So, not to burst the bubbles, but Amorim did say today that he doesn't envision the Butcher as a midfield player. So he's not going to play there. Where I do think he will play is centre back. I think he'll play on the left, and I think Luke Shaw could be pushed out to wing back position. Now, why is that a problem for me? So the reason why it's a problem for me is twofold. Martinez has just come back. Is the Butcher going to be back to his best? Is he going to tackle? Has he got PTSD from that? I think he'll be fine. I don't know what level he's going to be at. Is his pace still there? Has he got some form of pace? And also with Luke Shaw on that side, Luke Shaw is missing pace. We already, as I've said this time and time again, between the centre back and the wing back, we get caught out every single time. So I'm concerned about that. But look, if it means we've got that experience and the Butcher is back, we've got to give it a go. He was then asked, on Monday it will be the anniversary of basically when he came into the club, and then he was asked about what the team was like then and compared to the team now. He kind of basically said, look, it doesn't matter. He said that he found it difficult. He said that when he came in to the club, he could already see what the issues were, and he already knew what the problems were, which encourages me. He then basically went on to say that it doesn't matter about recent games. It doesn't really matter, and we've got to play each game like it's the last game. So look, what did we learn? What did we learn? Look, we learned that the Butcher is actually back. Is he going to play? I don't think he's going to start. I think there's a cameo there to be had. I think ultimately what I took from this is flexibility is going to come. The youth need to be ready to play games. We're going to lose these AFCON players in the next 2 weeks. They're going to miss a lot of games. And for those of us who have, and I'm not saying me, who want Xerxes to play, who want Amani to play, who are pushing these youth players to get into the team, I think that will happen. I think that he's going to try something different with Luke Shaw on the left-hand side. It could be a disaster. I don't know how Luke Shaw is going to get up and down that wing if he does play on that side. It worries me. But look, we're going to go again. There's nothing in there. The only two people that we're probably going to miss on Monday going to be Maguire, because can I call you by your brother's name? In what respects? In what respects, my friend? Who said, Stephanie says, I fear he'll be scared of smacking into a tackle like what he used to do. Mr. Free says, I would bring back Rojo at left wing back. I mean, how old is he now? I mean, he's got to be, what, 36? Stephanie says, he won't hold back in tackling, but more chance of injury. I don't commit fully to challenges. I think you make a good point. But one thing is for sure, United, desperate being a great team, will not allow Burmese player to play. I disagree with you. I disagree with you. If you are good enough, you will play in this team. I don't think it really, really matters. I think if you are good enough, you will play. Steph, it's toughy just thinking about how long it took Luke to come back without fear. Can I call you? Yeah. Bring back Rojo to settle Martinez. Wouldn't it be amazing if Amorim plays the kids and we tear Everton apart? I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping, because he's going to have to start to do this, right? If we are comfortable in that game, I'd love him to put like a Lacey on. A Fletcher on, because he's going to need to give these kids time. He needs to give these kids games. So if he's playing a Lacey and he's going to use him, he needs to play him. He needs to get him into the squad. He needs to rotate this squad. He needs to get them playing, because it's okay to train. It's okay to play in the under 21 squad. But if you're not playing in men's games, the only real way these players play or learn are playing games. In Myanmar, Sika Gate is called United. Brilliant. So I think that's what we've learned today. I think Amorim is already setting the scene. He's already Amorim already makes comments about these players, right? And basically says, look, we know what we're going to get. We will have the embargoed section come out as well, probably tomorrow. So there may be some different things on that. But what did we learn? I don't think we learned anything new, really. Football is back. United are back on Monday. We're going to see what the teams are like, how they've come back. We're going to see. So we'll be back on Monday, and I can't wait. So look, guys, I'm going to go. Fantastic show. I'll be back tonight. So look, as I said before, I'm going to attempt tonight. Hopefully it works. I'm going to do a quiz tonight. So there's going to be a quiz. I've put the QR code. I will do a post. I will put the link as well in the video. I've put a short out there as well, just to let people know. So it's basically first come, first served. I think you can join. I don't know. There are 100 spaces to join. You can still join the stream. I'm still going to do the stream. I'm going to do the quiz from the computer. It's not going to affect the stream, so I will still do the stream, because I'm still going to talk to you guys as well. So I will be doing the quiz. So if you can join the quiz tonight, it will be fantastic. So there is a QR code, but there's also a link, and I will put that up. So it's going to be a combination of just different questions and a combination of United questions as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a mix of both. So there will be all-round questions about different random stuff, and there will be United questions as well mixed in. There'll be a leaderboard as well. So yeah, get in there tonight if you possibly can. Dio says, can't wait for the game. Thanks, UDC. I'll be working quiz time, but see you soon. Thank you, my friend. As a Burmese, I still support United, and Ronaldo. My idol is Cristiano. Amazing stuff. So look, guys, I'm going to go. I will be back tonight in some shape or form. I hope this quiz works because I think it could be. I think it could be the start of something cool. Battle says United always look rusty after the international breaks, but going to be an easy game. I hope so. I really, really hope so because we need a win. If we can start off with a win, it will be fantastic. So look, guys, I'm going to go. Have a good rest of your afternoon, morning, evening. I will be back tonight, as I say, with the quiz. Big up. I hope you're doing extremely well. Yeah. Big up to you, my friend. Hope you're doing extremely well. I don't know what's going on with the names tonight. It's weird. All of your names tonight are just not coming up. They're just coming up really, really strange tonight. So I don't know what is going on with this channel. Well, not the channel, but with blinking YouTube. It's yeah. So look, I will be back this evening. If you haven't watched the show, go back and watch it live. Fo says, do you think Ronaldo will reach 1,000 goals? Yes, I do. I don't think he's going to stop playing until he reaches that. So I do think he will. So yeah, guys, as I say, there's a quiz tonight. I'm going to try to do a quiz tonight. There will be a code. I will put a code in the video description as well. There's a link. So give it a go. Register for the quiz. That the app or whatever the link is completely free. So you just get in there. I'll start probably. I'm going to look to do, I think, 10 o'clock. It might get pushed out. Let's see if it works. So look, I hope you can join it tonight. It will be fantastic. There's 100 spaces tonight, and if they all get used, then I'm going to have to increase it for next time. So look, guys, have a good rest of your afternoon. Hopefully I can see you tonight. Take care, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care.